Forms of business organization. When we plan to start a business or want to expand the existing business, we have to take an important decision which relates to the choice of the form of organization. We can decide to opt for a particular form of organization, keeping in view the features, advantages, and disadvantages of different forms of business organization. Various forms of business organizations from which one can choose the right one are as under: A. Sole proprietorship. B. Joint Hindu family business. C. Partnership. D. Cooperative societies and joint stock company. Next, in this picture, we have shown different forms of business organizations, that is sole proprietorship, joint Hindu family business, partnership firm, cooperative society, and joint stock company. We will discuss each form of business organization one by one. Sole proprietorship. As the name suggests, sole means only one, and proprietorship implies ownership. Hence, a sole proprietorship refers to a form of business organization which is owned, managed, and controlled by a single individual. A sole proprietorship is also known as a sole tradership or individual entrepreneurship. In a sole proprietorship, there is no legal distinction between the individual and the business owner. The owner is entitled to all profits from the business. He is also responsible for the business debts, liabilities, and losses. A sole trader does not necessarily work alone and may employ other people. Sole proprietorships are popular because of the simplicity of getting started. The individual who operates the business is known as a sole proprietor or a sole trader. If you go to a small neighborhood stationery shop or beauty parlor or hair salon, then in all probability you have interacted with the sole proprietor. Example: Rahul owns a retail shop. As his business picked up, he purchased goods for the shop for a sum of rupees 5 lakhs to be sold in next several months, and payment to be paid to creditors in monthly installments. After 3 months, a large factory near his shop closed, laying off 500 employees. His sales decreased and he is finding it difficult to make the payments to his creditors. Here, this is an example of sole proprietorship of the business. Rahul is personally liable for the debt. The creditors can file a civil suit against Rahul and recover their dues from his business assets as well as his personal property, including his home, car, etc. What begins as a sole proprietorship may be converted into another, more complex business structure, such as a corporation, if the business grows significantly and begins hiring a large number of employees. Sole proprietorships are easy to establish and dismantle due to lack of government involvement. The owner pays personal income tax on profits earned from the business. This picture depicts the features of sole proprietorship. We will discuss each of these features in some detail. Features of sole proprietorship. Number 1, easy commencement and closure. Hardly any legal formalities are required to start a sole proprietary business, though in some cases one may require a license or permit depending on his state and type of business. Owners can start or close a proprietary business at their discretion. Number 2, one man control. Sole proprietor is in complete control of the business operations. He takes all the decisions and executes them in the manner he wants. Number third, no sharing of profit and loss. The risk of failure of business is borne all alone by the sole proprietor. However, if the business is successful, the proprietor enjoys all the benefits. Fourth, no distinction between the owner and the business. The business does not have a legal entity separate from the owner. Features of sole proprietorship. Fifth, unlimited liability. Sole proprietors have unlimited liability. This means that the owner is personally responsible for payment of debts in case the assets of the business are not sufficient to meet all the debts. As such, the owner's personal possessions, such as his or her personal car and other assets, could be sold for repaying the debt. Suppose the total outside liabilities of XYZ Dry Cleaner, a sole proprietorship firm, are rupees 80,000 at the time of dissolution, but its assets are rupees 60,000 only. In such a situation, the proprietor will have to bring in rupees 20,000 from her personal sources, even if she has to sell her personal property to repay the firm's debts. It does not matter whether the personal property or assets are generated from business revenues or not. 6. Lack of business continuity. The sole proprietorship business is owned and controlled by one person. The business ends up at his will or on his demand. Merits of sole proprietorship. Number 1. Quick decision making and prompt action. Sole proprietor is in complete control of the business. The decision making is quick because there is no need to consult others. This may lead to timely action to take advantage of market opportunities as and when they arise. Number 2. Confidentiality of information. Sole proprietor himself takes all decisions so he can keep all the business related information confidential. A sole trader is also not bound by law to publish firm's accounts. Third, close personal relation with the clients. Fourth, direct incentive. A sole proprietor is the sole beneficiary of all the profit. This provides maximum incentive to the sole trader to hard work. Ease of formation and closure. It is possible to start sole proprietary business with minimal legal formalities. Owners can start or close a proprietary business at their discretion. 6. Tax advantage. The sole proprietor pays only the personal income tax on the profits earned by the entity. The entity itself does not have to pay income tax. Limitations of sole proprietorship. Number 1. Limited resources. Resources of a sole proprietor are limited to his or her personal savings and borrowings from others. Banks and other lending institutions may hesitate to extend a long-term loan to a sole proprietor. Further, the owner cannot sell an equity stake to obtain new funds. Number 2, limited life of a business concern. The sole proprietorship business is owned and controlled by one person, so that insanity, imprisonment, physical ailment, or bankruptcy of a proprietor affects the business and can lead to its closure. Third, limited size. Sole proprietorship will not earn the economies of scale due to its limited size. Fourth, unlimited liability. The business owner faces unlimited personal liability for all debts incurred by the entity. If the business fails, the creditors can recover their dues not merely from the business assets but also from the personal assets of the sole proprietor. So a sole proprietor is less inclined to take risks in the form of innovation or expansion. Fifth, limited managerial ability. The owner has to perform many managerial tasks such as purchasing, selling, financing, marketing, etc. It is rare to find an individual who is excellent in all these areas. So, decision making in the case of sole proprietorship may not be logical in all the cases. Further, due to limited resources, sole proprietor may not be able to employ and retain talented and ambitious employees.
Conclusion: the sole proprietorship suffers from various shortcomings. Many entrepreneurs opt for this form of organization because of its various advantages. This form of business organization is particularly suitable for those businesses where manual skills are required or where the capital required to start the business is relatively small. For example, if we start a Kirana shop or a beauty parlor in our neighborhood, then it does not require a lot of capital. We have to imply only minimum capital. Further, this form of business does not involve a high degree of risk as we imply only limited capital, so the risk involved is also limited. This form of business, that is sole proprietorship form of business, is also suitable for those businesses where customers demand personalized services. Now, an important question arises whether sole proprietor is the same as self-employed. Answer is yes. A sole proprietor is the same as self-employed. A sole proprietor does not work for any other person or any other company. He does not have any boss. He works just for himself or herself. Hence, the sole proprietor is self-employed. Thanks for watching. If you like our course, please spare some time to give a star rating to our course.